packed lunch becomes an important component for the school-going children. Packed lunch has become a necessity for the school children as it is not possible to have lunch at home. Their school may be far away from their home, and now there are no more kids and they don't require to be fed by their mother, and they have to carry the packed lunch. Packed lunch is a lunch in a tiffin box to be eaten by the child while they are away from home. So whatever they carry in the tiffin box to be eaten in the school is called as the packed lunch. The packed lunch should meet 1/3 of the day's nutritional requirement. Every meal should meet 1/3 of the RDA. The breakfast 1/3, lunch 1/3, and the dinner 1/3. The lunch, though it is not eaten at home, it is carried to school. However, it should meet 1/3 of the RDA. It should include food from all the 5 food groups, though the number of dishes may be less. In order to make the lunch a balanced one, we have to include all the basic 5 food groups. When we are including the basic 5 food groups in the packed lunch, the child will not be carrying a very big tiffin carrier where you can have rasam, kootu, poriyal, etc. But they can be converted into a simplified meal which contains all the 5 food groups. And the packed lunch should have at least 1 serving of green leafy vegetables. At least green leafy vegetables in the form of tuvayal or mashed green leafy vegetable, kootu or poriyal should be there. Foodstuffs providing good quality protein like egg or milk product in the form of paneer or curd would improve the overall protein quality in combination with the vegetable protein. When it is carried in the tiffin box, you cannot expect the child to carry rice separately, sambar separately, and there may not be so many separators that the child would like to carry. However, the lunch box should contain all the 5 food groups. So how can this be achieved? This could be achieved by preparing a sambar rice and a green leafy vegetable poriyal. It is not necessary that the packed lunch should always contain a variety rice. Most of us do carry variety rice. It may be curd rice, lemon rice, tamarind rice, tomato rice, etc. So this is what we prefer to carry. But all of us by now understand that lemon rice or tamarind rice does not contain all the 5 food groups, and it is not a balanced diet. Therefore, our focus should be to provide the child a balanced diet. It can be in the form of a sambar rice with the GLB poriyal, or it can be a vegetable fried rice along with the peas kurma, a combination of all the 5 food groups, but that should be prepared in a simple form so that it will enable the child to carry the packed lunch that contains a balanced food. Variety should also be present. Preferably, the food packed should be different from that prepared for breakfast. No child will like to eat idli both in the morning as well as during the lunchtime. Right? So you have to provide variety in the foods. The dishes should be packed at the right consistency so as to avoid leakage. When you carry the curd rice or when you carry the rasam rice, for example, and when you open the tiffin box, it should not be hard like a rock. The food consistency should be desirable. It should be in a form in which the child can handle. Maybe when an adult carry a curd rice, and if the curd rice becomes a solid mass, they may incorporate a little bit of water to it and convert it to the required consistency. But this, the child who is going to school may not be able to handle. Therefore, the consistency is very important. Or the food should not become dry during the lunch, which may not be appetizing to the child. To make the food appetizing, foods like whole fruits, buttermilk in a bottle, or chips in a polythene bag can be carried by the child. So fruit can be just kept in their lunch box, and you can give a bottle of buttermilk, or the child can be given. All the children like chips, so this can be put in a zip covered polythene bag and given in the lunch bag, which the child will eat happily. A fruit or vegetable salad may be included every day. And to give few examples, vegetable pulao, onion raita, and boiled egg along with orange can be a balanced menu for the packed lunch. Or sambar rice, amaranth poriyal, vegetable salad, and buttermilk can be a packed lunch, which is balanced. So like this, we can plan several packed lunches. If the child is not able to carry lunch with him or her, and if the child has to eat a meal at the school lunch programs are helpful for them. If the child is poor or if the child has to travel a long distance from the home, and if they are not in a position to carry their lunch with them, the school lunch programs provide lunch for the children. The increasing urbanization and number of working mothers have made school days longer for the children. The mothers have to go to work and they don't find time to prepare the meal for the child. Improper and hurried meals at home have become a routine. Whereas among the rural population, the young children are sent for work to earn a living, and the dropout rate is higher in children at primary and secondary school level. In the rural population, what actually happens to the school going children? They become dropout. And do they drop out of the school willingly? No, because of their circumstances. They are asked to go to work. They work as child laborers, and some of them have to take care of their siblings, and therefore they stay at home. And these factors have created a necessity to provide lunch at schools, which will provide nutritious food to children and also reduce the dropout rate. We have the midday meal scheme, which was introduced by the late Chief Minister Kamaraj. He introduced the school lunch program in the schools in order to improve the enrollment of the children in the primary schools. The objectives of the school lunch program are to provide food to the undernourished child and improve their nutritional status, to increase school enrollment and attendance. Uh, the late Chief Minister Kamaraj, he thought that the children would come to school at least to have food, to have their lunch, and thereby improve the school enrollment and their attendance. This would also help to inculcate good food habits. When they eat as a group, it will help to understand what are the habits they have to follow while eating the food, like to wash their hands before eating, avoid spilling of foods, and so on. And it also helps to incorporate nutrition education among the children as part of their curriculum. They know what vegetables and what fruits contain what type of vitamins and minerals, and what are the healthy foods. It helps to improve the educational performance of the students also. Since the child gets 1/3 of the RDA when the child consumes the lunch at school, It helps to improve their academic performance also. Encourage use of locally available nutritious food. When the child comes to the Anganwadi center for the lunch, the child will get hot rice along with some vegetable preparation, and these vegetables will be those that are locally cultivated and locally available, and it encourages community participation in the feeding programs. The school lunch programs, the two major nutrition intervention programs currently in operation for the population below the poverty line in Tamil Nadu are the Nutritious Noon Meal Program of the Government of Tamil Nadu and the Integrated Child Development Services called as ICDS, sponsored by the Ministry of Social Welfare, Government of India. We will study about these programs in detail in your later classes. And now coming to the developing good eating habits among the school going children, the adequacy of food in terms of nutrients not only depends on food available to the children, but also on the food environment and models set for them by their peers, their siblings, parents, and other elders in the family. The child will try to imitate all the people who are around the child. If the father does not like a particular vegetable or a particular food, the child will also try to say no to that food. Similarly, they will also try to imitate their friends or their siblings. Use of convenience foods by the mothers and the entry of fast foods have had a great impact on the food preferences of the children. Hence, nutrition knowledge of the parents incorporated into meal planning is important in imparting positive attitudes towards the foods. The environment at the eating place also affects the nutrient intake. While a comfortable and pleasant atmosphere is conducive for good eating, arguments and family fights while eating affects the food intake of the children. Advertising and television have a very strong influence on the type of food chosen by the children. Exposure to the catchy slogans like chocolatey, yummy, rich, etc. tempt the children and they go in for consuming processed foods. We know what happens, how the children crave for the pizzas, noodles, etc., and distort their liking and curiosity for the natural flavor and the color of the food. We shall now see certain nutritional problems that are common among the school going children. Dental caries. Tooth decay can be caused by caries which occurs very commonly among the children due to the staphylococcus. This can occur in children who are susceptible and whose integrity of tooth structure may be affected by nutritional deficiencies. So dental caries primarily occurs only when the child has nutritional deficiencies. Vitamin A is necessary for the formation of enamel and vitamin C is required for the formation of dentine, both of which are the components of the teeth. Calcium, phosphorus and vitamin D are needed for the calcification of the teeth. Fluorine decreases susceptibility to caries. So there are various nutrients that are involved for the formation and for the development of a strong and healthy teeth like the protein, vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, phosphorus, vitamin D and fluorine. So there are interrelated vitamins that are required for a healthy teeth. Fermentable carbohydrates may adhere to the tooth and this causes the major problem called as the tooth decay. The stickier the food and longer it stays in the mouth, greater is the effect. When a child consumes a chocolate, say for example, and if the child chews the chocolate, some portion of the chocolate may stick to the teeth if the child does not goggles or wash the child's mouth after eating a chocolate. So when a portion of the chocolate sticks to the teeth, it may ferment in the teeth and this can cause dental caries. Thorough cleaning of the mouth after each meal and developing the habit of brushing twice a day, early morning and before going to bed, might prevent dental caries. Underweight is another common problem. School children consume inadequate diet and so they become malnourished. They may skip breakfast or they may go to bed very early and they may skip the dinner. And therefore, when they don't consume one meal or when they skip the meal, there are a lot of chances of becoming underweight. Malnutrition can also be due to poverty or ignorance of the parents. Sometimes it occurs because they are poor, they don't have food to eat, and sometimes, though there is food, the parents may be ignorant. They may be continuously feeding their children with processed food instead of the nutritious food containing the unprocessed, fresh, and the organic foods. Children tend to miss the breakfast or may not carry lunch to school, which leads to improper nutrition. Emotional disturbances are one of the important factors that affect the food intake of the child. The children may be moody, they may have some quarrel with their friends at school, and that may affect their food intake at school and at home. Or when the environment at home is not very conducive, some problems at home that also can affect the children, the food intake of the children, which could be a cause for their underweight. Constipation is a common complaint among the school going children because children may not relish vegetables and fruits, particularly the green leafy vegetables. They have a dislike to the vegetables in general. Parents should make an effort to motivate the child to eat by serving it in different forms. By incorporating the fruits and vegetables in different form, the fiber content of the food should be improved. Consumption of less quantity of food can also lead to constipation. The early morning hurry to go to school and lack of sleep and activity can also lead to constipation in the children. So the children should be trained to consume plenty of fruits and vegetables that contain fiber. They also should consume liquids so that they don't get constipated, and they have to have adequate sleep and proper physical activity in order to overcome constipation. In this session, we saw about the physical growth of the school going children, their nutritional requirement and food requirement. We also discussed the diet and the packed lunch for the school going children and looked into the nutritional problems that are common during the school going age. Thank you.